You're listening to a new episode of the Brave Technologist, and this one features Vivek Kumar. He's the Director of CX Innovations and Strategy at Oracle, with 5 awarded patents and 15 more filed in CRM automation, generative AI, and agentic workflows. Early in his career, he championed developer productivity and tools for faster enterprise solution delivery. He also played a key role in the early development and democratization of chatbot solutions for CRM at Oracle. Currently, his work focuses on applied generative AI and agentic workflows, exploring their potential for practical enterprise adoption. In this episode, we discussed agentic workflows and how they're evolving with the adoption of generative AI and the kinds of impact they have on automation and productivity, the limits and challenges of generative AI adoption within enterprise organizations, and working directly with developers and customers on all levels of the customer experience. And now for this week's episode of the Brave Technologist. Vic, welcome to the Brave Technologist. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Luke. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really glad to have you on today. And you know, we don't have very many folks from the consumer experience side of things, and I'm really looking forward to kind of deep diving on this. And I mean, like, kind of, why don't we just get started too? As the director of the consumer experience innovation and strategy at Oracle, what are your kind of focusing on primarily right now?
Right. So one of the biggest focus for me and my job is using the generative AI based solutions in the enterprise space. Right now, I'm working on a number of key solutions, and so basically, these days, every company, every enterprise is jumping into the generative AI and how to build solutions. Where most of these companies are focusing on pretty basics solutions such as write an email, summarize this content for me, or write this content for me. We are going way beyond those basic use cases of generative AI. We are kind of testing the limits of generative AI into the consumer enterprise space, into the CRM systems. So we are seeing how generative AI can be used to we can leverage it to solve much more complex problems about market segmentation, how to solve these problems around Salesforce automation. How can we make the life of sales reps easier? How sales managers can make sense of the vast amount of data and of their pipelines. So that's our focus around right now.
Awesome. No, that's super helpful. How is Oracle kind of approaching that integration of AI into the customer experience solutions? I know you gave a couple examples of projects, but it is one of those things now where everybody's just talking about, oh, it's going to be everywhere, right? Like, and product design and experience is hard, and in Oracle, I would imagine, being Oracle and all, you all have like a pretty robust R&D and a lot of experience in the field. So I'd really love to hear a little bit on how Oracle is approaching this.
Right. So I would say, AI is in the DNA of Oracle. It's not something we picked like a couple of years ago and just trying to ride on the wave. We have been working into the AI space for more than a decade now. We have been trying to empower enterprise applications from a very long time. The only difference that has come is when we started, it was pretty much, get the data, train the model, try to deploy it, test it, understand, do the feedback, rinse, repeat, and keep doing that until, it is satisfactory to meet some customer requirements and all. Things have changed with the generative AI a lot, and the approach to integration at this time at Oracle is that we are doing it at every layer. So, starting from the platform to then building those products, and even for internal development, tooling, developer productivity, at every layer we are leveraging AI in today's world. So every single solution, we look at like how AI can improve those solutions, how AI can eliminate some of those manual labor, or can help us enforce compliance, all those things. So yeah, AI is like pretty much every layer at Oracle right now.
Are there like a lot of surprises that you're seeing where you think that something might give you like a big productivity win or some efficiency where it actually like doesn't necessarily pan out that way? Is there a lot of experimentation, that type of thing going on?
Right, exactly. So that's what I was saying in the beginning, that we are beyond those basic use cases of generative AI or AI in general. We are trying to see in a real world, when that rubber hits the road kind of situation, exactly how practical is AI, how much really we can leverage to solve some of the real world problems, right? So for example, a lot of investment goes into writing the code, building applications. Traditionally we used to build every single page, literally writing the code for it. But now we are leveraging AI more and more, and to automate a lot of those things, we don't have to kind of code for every single page, every single component kind of thing. We are able to leverage AI as a code assist, as a co-pilot kind of situation, where we developers are assisted a lot with a lot of boilerplate code, and we can do a lot of dynamic page generation, write applications much faster. The same thing is going towards the testing side of it. Gone are the days where we had to write thousands of test cases, and those running for days and days to make sure the software is at the right quality. Now the AI is able to help with speeding up all those tasks much more. That's how I would say right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. No, and are there any like trends or strategies too that are jumping out as like clear? I mean, like now that things, I mean, the hype's been around for a little while now, right? And you like you mentioned, you are hitting it at that deeper level across the stack. Are there any trends that you're seeing that are you're like, okay, this is people aren't necessarily aware of this, but this is going to be what people are going to be using.
Right. So I think one of the interesting trend that's coming out of all this generative AI and LLM is this agentic workflows and agentic models. So
Hmm.
until now, people were like, okay, there is a use case where you use something like a chat GPT, you throw in the problem or throw in the statement and chat GPT will bring out something, that was the like fundamental or any elemental use cases of generative AI. But now the trend is like even at Oracle, what we are doing is we are building this agentic workflows, which can leverage not just like a single use case, but a army of agents who can make decisions dynamically based on what is the requirement. They can invoke more than one agent at a time collaboratively based on those agent outputs. They can make those dynamic decisions and kind of automate the entire workflow around that for really complex business problems, such as sales forecasting, a lot of Salesforce automation around deal progression and all those things. So yes, agentic workflows, to highlight, is something that's really going to trend and really changing the way we have been doing business so far.
So, just for folks that might not be quite so familiar on that type of workflow, it almost sounds like how people talk about like a cell, like in a cellular level, but then there's like elements of helpers within the cell, right? All doing different functions, right? Is that kind of how it works, or maybe you can help unpack that a little bit more for people?
Sure. So agentic workflows, like there are two words in this: agentic and the workflow, right? So the word agentic is pretty much like something like an agent, not like a fully blown agent who is doing everything on its own, but there is an agent, something like agent, and then workflows. So workflow is a piece of orchestration that is made to solve business problems, right? So what happens is these workflows basically make use of these agents, primarily more than one, to bring the business decisions outcomes. So for example, when end user throws a question or a problem to it, the workflow picks the most appropriate or the right agent who is capable of handling that part of the problem. So that agent is basically takes that business problem, tries to solve it, and it results into the output along with some conclusions or some helper text that helps the workflow again to make a decision like, okay, is this the right outcome that was required, or do I need to take help of another agent within the system to pass this information and to get the next level of solution or next level of condition, right? So the whole workflow, the agentic workflow, works like a pretty much like a autonomous system where the workflow is capable of deriving those agents to bring the right business outcome. So it's pretty fantastic, the way it
It
works.
is
And
it's
yeah.
super dynamic. I mean, and looking at this from like a perspective of people working on software, right? Are you going to have like specialists that specialized in kind of tuning these different agents in these workflows? Is that kind of how it's shaping up, or are they just kind of doing their own thing?
Yeah, so the way it works is, like I said, where the workflow plays the role of a orchestrator in the whole system. The agents are like specialized pieces. These specialized pieces knows how to do one part of the one part of problem solving, right? So, for
Hmm.
example, right, there could be an agent that knows how to calculate, forecast, or knows how to make decisions around the sales stages in a CRM system, right? Or how to do the data validation, right? For like for example, if you process customer places a order, that one agent could just be knowing how to validate the customer. That's it. That could be super specialized agent. The another agent could be just making decisions about the be able to handle the order history of that customer to see if it's a new customer, repeat customer, what he has been ordering, like that. So basically, these agents are very specialized pieces that knows to do one thing very well, and this workflow then basically is capable of invoking these agents based on what they are good at, passing that information, bringing the output back, and making the next decision dynamically based on what they got back.
That's fascinating. It's awesome. I mean, it's like so much more to it than just talking to a prompt, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. In the
yeah.
traditional ways, yeah, for the listeners, right? In the traditional ways, a programmer has to code a lot of if and else, like if this happens, then do this, else this is, and that was never ending job. Basically, you keep finding those conditions, keep writing the software manually, doing this whole manual plumbing. Now, this whole agentic workflows takes that whole guesswork and this manual plumbing out of the system. Systems are truly scalable and dynamic here.
And even for like somebody like an entrepreneur, right, that is always time scarce, is always resource deprived, right? Like 'cause something like this type of a workflow, it totally like help them have that much better of a chance of success, I would imagine. How far away are we from that being a reality from your point of view?
Oh, we are doing it now actually. As we
Mm.
speak, Oracle already released agentic workflows in their service infrastructure or for the service systems. We already have the framework ready. It's already rolled out to the customers where they are able to use these agentic workflows to solve real world problems into the customer service space, sales side, and all those areas. So
Oh,
they are already there. It's not like something maturing. I mean, sure, it will continue to mature and getting more and more advanced, but it's already to a state where it's already pretty much practical and usable.
wow, that's fantastic. That's awesome. I'm sure people would love to hear that. Yeah. So, just switching gears a little bit. I mean, you've been awarded patents yourself, five, or I think with what 15 more filed too. I would imagine, or if I'm correct. How about can you go a little bit more into detail about that? About the patents, whatever ones you feel like kind of expanding on.
Yes, exactly. So I definitely have been doing a lot of work into the research area and filing patents where I see, I have stumbled upon something probably people might not have. And I can talk about a couple of patents which probably you just will find very interesting. So one of the patents was around unifying the customer insights. So basically, today, if you go to the Amazon.com and look for a product, you will find probably not hundred but even thousands of reviews for the same product, where people are giving those reviews ranging from star 1 to star 5 with feedback. Now, as a human, we don't have sanity to go over those thousand reviews to really understand why something is a 1 star versus 5 star for the same exact product, right?
Hmm.
So my patent work was actually involved in using all these data sets to put into a machine learning model and to figure out exactly why a review, like what is the true value of that review, what is the exact review about it. For example, right, like there's a pretty good product and it gets 1 star review because it arrived late to a customer, right? And now the delay is something because of that customer gave a 1 star review, but that may not be something that really matters to you because you are either not in hurry or not, right? So product should still be like 5 star for you, right? So
Hmm.
one of my patent was all about figuring out the relevance of those reviews and to get a true feedback score rather a extreme ends of 1 and 5 star kind of thing. So that was one of the patent that I filed some time back.
That's
uh,
awesome. I mean, because then you could also, I'm sure like there's product quality, but then also like I'm sure Amazon from a logistical support side, right? Like we see something like that and be like, okay, well, we really need to get on top of our shipping process or whatever. You got all these like shipping cases that are hurting our reviews for products and getting in the way there. It's super interesting.
Exactly, and we Oracle has Oracle Commerce product, and we had the exact same thing. So basically, again, I use Amazon because it's a more commonly known system, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, my work was primarily more towards the Oracle Commerce platform, where we have a advanced B2B and B2C platform, and exact same thing. Our customers run e-commerce stores, and they get the similar things, like they get a lot of reviews, and it's very hard for customers to get the true value of those reviews.
Totally, totally. How about any other patents that you feel like sharing a little bit about?
Yes, definitely. One of my earlier work was towards the area of chatbots or digital assistants. So uh, I would say a couple of years ago, just they were the biggest thing into the AI or the IT, where everybody was jumping towards building a chatbot or using a chatbot. Uh, One of the biggest problem with the chatbots, which I addressed through one of my patent, was that in the large enterprises, almost every department even starts to build a chatbot for their specific operations. Every product within a company like Oracle, have its own chatbot system, and then uh, there is a philosophy in the market where we say, hey, sell where the customer is. So, today customer could be on WhatsApp, customer is on Slack, customer is Facebook, everywhere, right? So now with every company building these, hundreds or thousands of chatbots within the system, and then trying to build them for every possible channel, it's just insane. So what my patent was about, figuring out and automatically making these chatbots available on all the possible channels. So instead of letting every team to build a bot and all the possible channels for it, my patent basically addresses a way where these bots can self discover all the possible channels that have been already built by other teams, and then can automatically be available on those channels. So basically it reduces a lot of development investment time and resources around that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like that kind of integration time is just normally like such a barrier for so many, development cases like that we run into. I can imagine. Yeah, this is fantastic. I mean, like, and I know early in your career, you were an evangelist for the developer productivity. I mean, how did that experience shape your approach to innovation with AI?
Right. Good question. So yeah, when I joined IT, like anybody else, I was assigned to write code and build some of the products, and somehow I found that that's not the most interesting part. What about trying to find ways to make this thing faster, make it easier for people who are building like me, somehow cut their time, make them more productive. So from the very early on, I became big on finding ways to improve developer productivity, how to bring some innovation in how we do day to day job. So and obviously when you do that kind of thing, you always need to be a little ahead of the curve. You have to explore what are the new or innovative ways to solve those problems, because if they are very well known, that everybody will do it, right? But they are
Hmm.
not evident sometimes. So my job even in the early days was to keep exploring those new areas, new ways. And while I did that, I think that journey led me to go more and more towards newer advancements in AI, and then now in generative AI. So, my all that experience around helping developers to do better, that passion became, translated that passion into helping the customers to adopt products and do the digital transformations even faster. So I continued the same path, and I saw AI crossing my paths in that journey early on, and I became big on AI because, like I was saying earlier too, one of the biggest power of AI is it takes you away from manually making those if else kind of decisions. It helps
Hmm.
you to understand the data patterns and make dynamic decisions on the top of it. You just cannot scale that way by manually writing any kind of code and all. So yeah, my early
Mhm.
work towards developer productivity and all uh, always kept me awake at nights to figure out what's new happening with the AI and all, and I continued on that journey, and still doing that.
Yeah, how much is how involved are the customers like in the process? Is it something? I mean, is it something where you all are working with developers and then they're giving you feedback, or you're working with support, or both, or how do you know that? I guess how are you able to kind of make sure you're not going too far into a rabbit hole on a solution to a problem that might not be as big of a problem once you start talking to the market? How does that kind of balance out for you?
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting question. So what happens is, I would say there's no black and white answer to this. A lot of times, it could be too early to involve a customer or a partner to evaluate a solution. You kind of have to trail the blaze, kind of trailblazing a path initially to certain level where you say, okay, you have some sort of MVP or a minimal viable product, right? So you
Hmm.
really have to reach to certain stage where you can eliminate at least some of the absolute blockers. And once you see, you can play with the technology to some extent, you have some confidence in terms of what you're trying to achieve. Usually that is the time when we start involving customers as or even partners at something called design partners, where we select a couple of customers where we see this is a major pain point for them, and we kind of sign those NDAs and then work with them closely to say, hey, considering this is your domain, this is your business problem, and this is how we are trying to approach it. What do you think? What do you get? And we take those feedbacks, build that feedback loop, and continue to iterate our products like that. So
That's
so yeah, I
awesome.
mean it's there. Without that, like you rightly said, right? You don't want to keep building forever without really knowing if it's really worth solving that problem with that much of investment and all. So yes, a balance is always needed.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those things where it's easy to kind of get too far into it in some cases. I mean, because especially I would imagine with the workflows being that dynamic, right? Like it's just kind of
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
well, where do I go? How did I get here? And then you're like, wait a minute, the customer's over there, or way off in space.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. You need to kind of we say it like this way, if you board on a wrong train, it's better to get out of it as early as you realize that you don't want to keep on the train forever, right? So because
yeah,
further you go, harder it will be to come back, so it's always the case. So yeah,
yeah,
it's
well, and you've got a real rounded experience set, right? Like you've done developer advocacy all the way to now, where you're working with on the customer experience side and innovating on that. Like, what's your favorite part of your job? Like, what's the thing that you really like? It's like you in a candy shop or a toy store or whatever. You really enjoy doing this part of the work. What is that piece? What's that element of your job that you really enjoy?
right. So one of the things, like I have been saying, I have been big on productivity and innovation aspects of my job. So uh, the beauty of my side of work is I have been doing things that either people think it's not possible or it's too far out in the future. So making those things work and be able to show it to the leadership, to show it to my management, and getting their views, uh, like seeing that spark in their eyes. Oh wow, I didn't know this could work like this, or wow, we are so close to something like this. uh, that's kind of my paycheck, I would say. That's my reward for doing those things. So yeah, always finding new ways of doing things, exploring new approaches to the technology to solve the same problems. That always fascinates me.
That's awesome. No, I mean, and what are some of the big challenges that you're seeing with just adoption of around consumer AI, and then we can touch on scaling and stuff later. But first off, with the adoption side, like what are the challenges you're seeing?
You're right. So in the enterprise space, adoption, there's really a big challenge around adoption, technology adoption. There are multiple reasons for that. At its lowest level, right? Customer always wants to see what is the investment, like in terms of cost, in terms of effort. what they look like when they want to adopt a new feature, like they want to use generative AI or something. Then it goes to the third level, which is to the upper management. What is the ROI on that effort, right? And
Hmm.
both in short term and in long term, right? Like how does this effort adoption and all this looks like in short term? What are we looking at in terms of gains, right? Because at the end, it's business for everybody. And same thing, then they look,
Hmm.
okay, what about fast forwarding to 5 years from now? How does this pan out? So ROI is a big thing. And I think the another biggest challenge to other than realizing like how do you really measure that ROI in these solutions, the another big problem or challenge I would say is the people who are using those systems, they are sometimes like man of habit kind of thing, where they have been doing the way they have been doing for decades. Sometimes
Hmm.
they don't really like changes, even it's for the betterment. They are very very resistant to those changes. So it's a big challenge to make technology, the overall solution in a way that it's easier to adopt. It's feels like seamless or not really a big step forward towards making those changes into the way they do day-to-day job. That are the biggest challenges. So I mean, we don't really care how advanced is the solution or how complex it is behind the scene or whatever the technology marvel it is. For them, at the end of the day, it has to be easier to use, or should be pretty much the way it was. The way they have been seeing it should just work the same way. So yeah.
And are some of those sensitivities kind of feedback from some of those kind of used to help improve your process at all, or with how you all are like kind of innovating and integrating that into the
Oh
experience?
yes.
Or
So Oracle has a big team of user experience design and development, and these teams constantly work with customers, partners, users to ensure that what are their expectations, how the design has to be seamless, how customers should be able to adopt those new changes or new developments, seamlessly. So yes, that's always a big part. I mean, technology solution or a technology product is never successful without a great user experience. So
Mhm.
this is the part of the process, part of the design.
Are there any, what are the kind of concerns that come to mind? I mean, like, so much of people's perception of where the technology is at is so it's like Terminator or, Dave from, Space Odyssey, right? Like, but I mean, like you're in the mix and you're also on the enterprise side too. So you're seeing how, customers that are in the business world are integrating and working with these things. Are there any concerns that kind of you're seeing repeat patterns with where you're like, oh wow, people just are not understanding this or that, or this is kind of leaving them wide open for something, anything like that, or is it pretty much
Yeah,
what you'd
I think
expect?
I would say one of the areas, especially with the AI, is the privacy and the ethics concerns. So
Hmm.
almost every customer, when they use solutions like this, they always have a lot of questioning about, how how ethically the AI has been trained, how private is the customer data. Well, there's a common perception sometimes, hey, oh, okay, AI needs some sort of training, and when you do the training, you need some data. Now, where are the data getting or sourced from? How good is that data? How real data is that? How is the privacy taken care while using that data? So that kind of concerns is always a big thing, especially delivering AI solutions. And we really have very very strict and stringent processes around data privacy and ethics part of AI, uh, at like almost every layer. So yeah, I would
Hmm.
say for the customer side, when using AI kind of solutions, that always comes up.
Yeah, I mean, so much of this too, I think, is going to kind of fall in that similar bucket of like operational security, like don't click every link in the email, kind of types of things, right? Like, and I'm sure some of this will come with time as people use the software solutions more and more. But where do you see this going? Do you see these agentic workflows becoming the norm, or looking out 3 to 5 years from now, like how different is the work experience for somebody, then than it is now from what you're seeing?
Well, here's the thing, even with the agentic workflows, a lot of people go and hype about saying, oh, they will eliminate like human workers in the system, everything will be completely automated. That's not really true. I mean, AI is here to help you or augment the workflows people are doing in day-to-day life. It's basically to aid people rather replace them. And that's what I'm seeing. These all agentic workflows and all, they will become more and more autonomous. They will become more and more advanced, be able to do a lot of things that you have been doing, manually day to day. But there's one area that AI can never replace. That is like the empathy or the human emotion part of it, right?
Mhm.
So you cannot completely start doing a whole lead prospecting where you start sending emails automatically, responding them automatically without involving a human at all. Those machined or machine looking languages or those kind of correspondence, humans are ultra smart sensing that kind of things. When they see, hey, on the other side, on the other end, it's not really a human I'm talking to, but it's a machine. Nothing turns them off, more than that. So in other words, yeah, these systems will be much and much more smarter over a period of time. In next 3 5 years, a lot of things will be done with that. But at the same time, yeah, they cannot take that human touch out of it. So yeah, they will help, but not really replace anything like that.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, someone still got to push the thing forward, right? Like, or push the button, right? At least, and kind of steer it toward a direction. Where would you, what advice would you give to professionals? I mean, we've got a lot of people that listen to this that might be either, developing software or entrepreneurs or just, enthusiasts, right? Like, they want to get more involved in the rise of AI and learn more about it. Are there any advice or resources you recommend they take a look at?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I would say, no matter at what stage you are in your life, you are a student or you are a early, in early levels of your career, or even a seasoned professional. If you have been, living under the rock around the AI and the generative I would say come out of it and pick any course, even go on YouTube and look for generative AI. Just Google about it. There are plenty of material. Almost every big enterprise, including Oracle, they have been offering free content over what AI is, what generative AI is, and there is plenty to learn. So I would say there is no avoid there's no getaway without AI. You have to learn AI. You have to learn how it works. Not everybody has to be a data engineer or a data scientist, but you really need to understand how to leverage AI in your day-to-day job. uh, Find your local group. There are a lot of local networking groups and meetups and all where people talk about AI like almost every day or weekly basis. Join those groups, listen to them, see how you can uh, apply those principles, apply those concepts in the problems you are dealing with day-to-day life. And definitely you will see, once you understand the application of AI in your space, then you will also understand how to solve those problems using AI. That's how I would say. Get on the AI boat as soon as possible. That's my advice.
Fantastic. No, that's fantastic. It's great advice. I think, and I know, Vic, you've been really gracious with your time, and we really appreciate you coming on. Was there anything we didn't cover that you want our audience to know about?
Um, Not really, but yeah, I think it's a very we are in a very exciting era of AI and generative AI right now. A lot of things that were not imaginable even like a year ago are now possible with this whole generative AI. So I would say this is one of the best time to be living as a human and get on this. That's all I would say.
Can't argue with that. That's I can't think of a better note to end on. Well, finally, where can people find you online? Are you out there on LinkedIn or X or any of these platforms?
Yes, I'm mostly only on LinkedIn, and you can definitely find me as Vivek Kumar on LinkedIn. And if you will see as Oracle, you should be able to find me pretty easily with Vivek Kumar.
Fantastic. Well, we'll link to it too in the show notes. So, again, Vic, I really appreciate you coming on. It was a great conversation today. I learned a lot. I think our audience learned a lot, and we'd love to have you come back too and check back in on things. As things kind of keep playing out.
Definitely, pleasure is all mine. So, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Vic. Have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening to the Brave Technologist Podcast. To never miss an episode, make sure you hit follow in your podcast app. If you haven't already made the switch to the Brave browser, you can download it for free today at brave.com and start using Brave Search, which enables you to search the web privately. Brave also shields you from the ads, trackers, and other creepy stuff following you across the web.